our final performer of the weekend, or of the Filberg Fest, comes from the land down under, Canberra, I think. Did I get that right? He's got 5 albums. He's a folk, rock, blues singer and songwriter. I'm pleased to introduce Kim Churchill.
Hello, hello, hello. This is a very special little moment. I've been in Australia the last few years, wondering whether I'd ever get back to Canada, and realizing that part of my soul is here, and when I got back here I realized that I was myself again, fully and wholly, and that was really cool. And being able to stand here on a stage and play to you all under a bunch of beautiful big old trees is a very special moment. I come from a tiny little town called Merimbula, which is on the far south coast of New South Wales, Australia. And as most people who come from small towns would agree, the second I was old enough I got the hell out of there. And I bought a camper van, and I built a bed in the back, and I left on the road to try and make a career playing music. And a few months in, I was really concerned that I didn't have a home. I didn't have a physical place to go back to, and that was an important part of what makes a life feel whole. And I worried about that. But then over time I began to realize that I felt at home anyway. And it was a feeling that would come and go. And I was able to kind of cultivate that, and I feel that home is not necessarily a physical place. It doesn't have to be a house or a town or anything. It can be a feeling and a mindset and an attitude and a thing that you have with you wherever you go. And that led me to, it was my second song, this one. It's called Loving Home. He came from far and war and hate to land upon our peacefully soft door. That white flag he threw led him to run forevermore. He searched long and hard, looking on, trying to find some destiny. And I'm sure he'll find it home, so the heart's set free. I see it in loving home. Oh, thousands of years went by, he found so many different ways to think. He searched for a way of life in a place where life was distinct. See, finding home seems pretty hard. Most seem to live within their heads. Oh, in the end I'm sure he'll find that home is where the heart finds tread. I see it in loving home. I see it in loving home. like a swagman free. Fruit might not be a book that makes you happy or a god above to see. You find this happiness in walking on like a swagman free. For whatever sets your soul on fire helps to keep your heart at ease. Thank you so much. So, must have been about 6 years ago now. I recorded an album in a little recording studio in Ucluelet. And it was a beautiful, inspiring experience. And probably for that reason, because I'd recorded quite a few albums and I'd recorded quite a bunch of stuff. But this one did way better than anything else. It was successful. It got on the radio and it got me to all these amazing corners of the globe, and it got the attention of some major record labels in capital cities and stuff. And all of a sudden I was signing these big record deals with these fat old white dudes in boardrooms in New York and London, and they were telling me exactly what to do with my art. They were like, "You're going to be the next Vance Joy." And I was like, cool. How do I do that? And then followed a couple of years of me trying my best to do what they said and to ride the gravy train, you know. But it really didn't work for me. It didn't fit. It didn't make me feel comfortable. It didn't make me feel myself. When I was meeting these people, I was anxious and I'd trip over my words and I wasn't shining. And anyway, I recorded this album and I was trying desperately to kind of give them what they wanted. And I had spent about 100 grand on it, and I'd been working on it for about 18 months, and I couldn't get it right, and I knew deep down that it was laced with fear. And that's a terrible thing to put into creativity. Into art, you know, it's kind of got to come from joy, or at least from an enjoyment in expressing those other emotions. And so anyway, I went to this meeting in Sydney with the record label, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna listen." They said, "It's not quite right. We know it's not quite right. You know it's not quite right, but it's cool because we got this guy. He's from REM, and he's in America, and he's gonna remix it, and then it'll be good." And I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" And I had a bit of an awakening, and I said, "You know what, I'm going to throw this album in the bin, and I'll come back in a week, and I'll write a new one, and I'll see you in a week with a new album, catch you later." And I went home and started writing. It was a terrifying thing to do, but it you know, sometimes you're so deep in a shitty situation that you're actually stoked to throw it all in the air. And I don't know how that works with sticking to your commitments and seeing things through and working hard at things over time, but sometimes I love that expression that if you're reading a book and you're not enjoying that book, you should just put that book down and read something else. I really like that idea. And it was liberating, and it felt like a weight had fallen away, and I was able to be myself And I woke up at 6 a.m. and I wrote for 16 hours a day all week. And I'm going to play you guys the first song that I wrote at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I called it Waitfalls, and I called the album Waitfalls. And because it just felt like a weight had fallen away and I could move freely again. The old fat white dudes in the cities were pretty happy with it too, and we coexisted peacefully for another 2 years before I realised that it was all a load of trash and went out on my own. And you can burn on, waking up tired with the weight of it all. The line is drawn, waking up high as the weight it falls. Saw the weight it falls. Was I blinded, holding on tight to the weight of it all, like minded? Come to my side as the weight it falls. Saw the weight it falls, the weight it falls, the weight it falls. Breaking the commitment that I wrote up in my mind, a state of indecision on an island, lost in time. I was lost in time. And I looked towards the levity I felt when I was young. Greeted by a melody, I disappeared just in time. I was just in time. And you can burn on, waking up tired with the weight of it all. The line is drawn, waking up high as the weight it was. I blinded, holding on tight to the weight of it all, like minded. Come to my side as the weight it falls. Saw the weight it falls, the weight it falls, the weight it falls. And I look towards the simple and I look towards the kind. I look down at the shadows I was drowning in, lost in time. I was lost in time. And I feel that there's a levity growing inside. I breathe it in harmony, finding me just in time. I was just in time. After all that defense, I feel the warmth of the ever core. Your heaviness I can see where I was blind. I do believe there comes a time that you can burn on, waking up tired with the weight of it all. The line is drawn, waking up high as the weight it was. I blinded, holding on tight to the weight of it all, like minded. Come to my side as the weight it falls. Saw the weight it falls, the weight it falls, the weight it falls. Well, the next song I'm going to play is called Rosemary. And Rosemary was my grandma's name. And it's written from the perspective of this old man that fell in love with my grandma in the hospital right before he died. And he was a couple of weeks off passing away, and his mind was beginning to malfunction and do some tweaked stuff. And he wandered out into the hallway and he looked into my grandma's room by chance, and he saw her and on the spot decided that she was the love of his life. And he went in and introduced himself to my grandma and my dad, told him how he felt, and then started trying to pick up grandma. after a couple of hours he must have thought he was doing pretty good. And he asked Grandma's, he took Dad outside and asked Dad if he would be able to see Grandma more often. And Dad went back in and asked Grandma. And Grandma was really sharp right up until the end. A week before Grandma died, she gave me $50 to get some jeans that didn't have rips in them. She was getting things done. She also, which was kind of cool, she said, if there's one thing you can do for me, Kim, it's that you find a way to make your dad stop smoking. And I went and told Dad, and he stopped. After 40 years, he stopped smoking right then and there, and it was kind of impressive. From all sides, but Grandma was sharp, is what I'm saying. And she knew that George, the old guy's name was George, she knew that George was a little bit tweaked and a little bit wacky and close to death. But it put a glint in her eye, and it was really quite beautiful. And to see a glint in Grandma's eye when she would also die a few weeks later was a really special and mystical thing for our family. And so she looked at Dad and she said, yeah, why not? And George started coming over and hanging out and sitting on a chair next to Grandma's bed. And got no idea what they would have talked about, but they had this little friendship. And after about a week of that, George couldn't get out of his bed, and he would pass on messages via the nurses to give to Grandma. And a week later, they both died. And it was just this really mystical part of the grieving process for me and my family to say goodbye to Grandma, was this whacked out old dude, George. And I've been telling the story for a few years on stage, and sometimes there are doctors and nurses at the gigs, and they tell me that this is pretty common. It's a common thing that old men do before they die. They fall in love with whoever the heck is around. And I kind of like that. It's sort of like, I just imagine these gruff old dudes that maybe have struggled to show emotion and struggled to show love, and then it just comes pouring out of them in whichever direction right before they die. I think it's awesome. Rosemary, you're here right now, though soon you'll go away. And I am also heaven bound, I may die today. So let me take this chair right now, hold your hand and say that while your mind is shutting down, I am here to stay. And your son has let me sit here now, we're passing out the days. A week can feel so short somehow, but proudly I can say my love for you has grown and found a smile on both our faces. And as your mind is shutting down, I am here to say that it's all gonna be fine, that it's all gonna be fine, that it's all gonna be fine, Lord. I don't see the air somehow, I breathe it every day. And love is always there somehow, proudly there to stay. So let me take this chair right now, hold your hand and say that while your mind is shutting down, I am here to stay. And it's all gonna be fine, and it's all gonna be fine, and it's all gonna be fine, Lord. He said it's all in your head and I can't tell if it's true. Rosemary, you're here right now, though soon you'll go away. And I am also heaven bound, I may die today. So 13 years ago, I got a plane to Memphis, and I was a busker on the street at that time. Well, not on the street, at markets, which was kind of a nice point of difference. Markets are like full of grass and hippie stones and fresh eggs and coffee, and it's a nice place to busk. But this random dude in this tiny little town, Merimbula, came up to me and he said, "Hey, I think you're great, and I want to take you to the Folk Alliance in Memphis." And I said, "Okay." And he took me over there, and it was a brilliant experience. And they have this Folk Alliance thing. They book out the what's that hotel from the famous model girl? Same name, Hilton. They book out the Hilton Hotel, and every room in the hotel becomes a tiny music venue. And it's like showcases. You hope that festival directors are there, or other people. And actually, the Canada's room is incredible. It's called the Beaver Suite, and it's on the top floor, and it's like penthouse vibes, and they can have like 50 people in there, and it was super cool. But anyway, I digress. I was lucky enough while I was there. I was really inspired. I was writing songs all day, every day in my room if I wasn't playing showcases. And then I went down to Sun Studios, which is the recording studio where Elvis and Johnny Cash and Jerry Lee Lewis and a bunch of other incredible artists used to record. And it's a museum in the day, but they must have been strapped for cash. And it was a recording studio still from 1 in the morning until 6 in the morning. And I went in and I laid down a song called Please Come Home with a friend of mine, Ashley Mannix. And it was the first duet that I'd ever written. And something about this song it's been with me for the last 13 years, and I've recorded it 5 times in 5 different studios, 5 different albums. And finally I have a version that I'm really, really happy with. And it came out a couple of days ago. And it features a dear friend of mine in Australia, Steph Strings, who is a phenomenal young folk singer-songwriter that I highly recommend you guys checking out. So anyway, I'd like to play that for you, and I've been so lucky to have this beautiful singer-songwriter from Tofino named Ali on tour opening for me, and I'd like to invite her on stage to come and sing this one as a duet. I watched as you grew, and I watched as you fell. I watched you make my life real, and I watched as I made your life hell. I've felt many things, and I know what I see, but these feelings were out of my league. Oh, won't you please come home? And oh, won't you please come home?
It's just for her, honey. As far as she's concerned, and I long to be saved, and you need to learn to let people in, honey, and love them in return. I felt many things, and I know what I see, but these feelings were out of my league. Oh, won't you please come home? And oh, won't you please come home? I don't see the reasons why you're gone. And oh, won't you please come And oh, won't you please come home? And oh, won't you please come home? I don't see the reasons why you're gone. And oh, won't you please come home? Give it up for Ali, everybody.
Well, this next song is about paying attention. One thing that I've noticed happens to me when I get down and glum, which I think is an inevitable part of being a human and an inevitable part of life, is that I start to find ways to tune out. I start to find ways to tap out of reality, and I stop looking reality in the eyes. And I do that because I'm scared, because reality has hurt me in some way, or at least I've perceived reality to be the cause of my hurt. And so I start tuning out, I start zombie scrolling on Instagram, or, there's a million ways in this day and age, more ways than ever, to tune out and stop paying attention to reality. And I think that's because a lot of us are a bit unhappy and a bit hurt by brutal truths of the reality of our world. But I kind of spiral when I do that, and I go from bad to worse. And I found that the only way that I come out of those times and kind of get back to my regular cheerful self is to find ways to tap in and tune in and come back to reality and come back to the moment that I'm in, and every little thing that makes that moment what it is, whether it's good or bad or easy or hard or scary or fun, or all of those things at once, which most moments are. And then the kind of colour bleeds back into my view and my existence and my reality. And so I wrote a little song for myself to remind myself to pay attention. I think it's the single most important thing that you can possibly do with your life. And I definitely hold it as my highest value. And I've got another little treat for you. A dear friend of mine, we met when we were 10 years old, the first day of high school, at Lumen Christi Catholic College in Merimbula. And this guy's name is Liam Fell, and he comes from Tathra, which is about 25 minutes north of Merimbula. That was a lot of small Australian towns for you to hear in one sentence. Merimbula, Merimbula, Tathra. There was also Tilba, Walumla, Bombala, Bermagui, and Walumla. And anyway, Tathra is a bit cooler than Merimbula, but I won't let him have that. But when we finished high school, we kind of hung out a bit, and he started coming on tour. And it was super fun, and I loved having him around, and he was my best friend, and he's been with me through so much over the years, and we've toured together with Billy Bragg across America. We've gone up into the far northern reaches of Western Australia and all over the East Coast. And what we never thought to do in all of those years was to have him be involved in the show itself. And he's a great drummer, and I'd like you to welcome my best mate to the stage, Mr. Liam Fell. I was walking one day through the big lights, wondering when the world became so tired. Bottles of vodka flashed as the Coca-Cola sign shone like moonlight, and I wondered when the world became so wired. Even the clearing of the streets, it was all tiled. In the corner stood a tree in a cage. In the screen on the side of a skyscraper stood a war child, nestled in amongst the stocks, the shares, and the sports scores of the day. I thought, don't you leave your life too long. It's gone before it's done. If you hide away. Traveling one day to find a small town. Food heard that it was far enough away. Arrived late in the night and there was no sound. I looked forward to the breaking of the day, and with the sunrise I headed for the ocean. For it's where I find the cleanest air to breathe, and every road down a factory had stolen, and the smoky built out across the sea. Purely works to eat, and there's a shine in the eyes of those that let go, and that shine was like a song that sang to me. It said, don't you leave your life too long. It's gone before it's done. If you hide away, now don't you leave your life too long. Okay, it's Sunday afternoon. It's been very hot. I think it's been hot, and that's saying something, because I don't often think it's been hot in Canada. You've had a lot of sun. How are you feeling? We can keep going with this kind of storyteller vibe. or it is your opportunity, given that dancing has been made legal, to have a dance. Would you like to step it up a notch? To the trains, down into this fortress that I know. I fell down through this canopy. To the trains, down into this fortress that I know. Fell down through this canopy. To the trains, down into this fortress that I know. Fell down through this canopy into the trains, down into this fortress that I know. And I have come to realize it's not to the story that just breaking through the ice of God. No demons that the judge or deny. Breaking through this canopy, I found comfort in the places I thought I didn't want to be. This is an old Led Zeppelin song. Hey Jamie, can I get a bit more harmonica in the monitors? I should have quit you a long time ago. And I should have quit you, Lord, a long time ago. Quit you, baby, and move me on down to Mexico. No, if I'd have listened to my first in mind, if I'd have listened, oh, to my first in mind, I'll stay with you, baby, like I'm down for the second time, like I'm down for the second time. Second time. How am I doing for time? A few more. This is a song called Golden. It's about not needing too much.
Dream a little more, and you were more delight than I could hold as I returned to walk struck by the thought. I don't need much to say it's golden. I don't need much to see it's fair, and I don't need much to feel that motion. I can see such ideas clearer now, and clearer now. Such a grip, all of the kindness that the world lets slip, but with a heavy hand that answered me, let it all crumble apart to see. I don't need much to say it's golden. I don't need much to see it's fair. I don't need much to feel that motion. I can see such ideas clearer now, and clearer. I forgot how much it glows, and all at once I breathe a sigh of relief. That's my home. Hey, it's my home. There's hope in a lot of things. There's hope in a lot of things. There's hope in a lot of things, there's hope. To say it's golden, I don't need much to see it's fair. I don't need much to feel that motion. I can see such ideas clearer now, and clearer now, and cornered by nothingness. I forgot how much it glows, and all at once I breathe a sigh of relief. That's my home, of relief. That's my home.
What do you reckon we get Liam Fell back out here on the floor, Tom? This is a song about washing dishes for a friend of mine in Montreal.
And I was running for the hills, I knew no more about today. Thinking backwards, thinking forth, either way, not much to say. And isolation's quite a way to deal with this mess. Falling at my feet, I knew my time was gone and life was long. Now I'm sick thinking of me, what can I do for you, and what do you want? What do you love?
That was lovely singing.
Put my window to the sky. Put my window to the sky. Falling down, I thought I had it all wrapped up inside my head. But I was rearranging thoughts for others' eyes instead. Falling at my feet, I knew my time was gone and life was alone. I'm sick thinking of me, what can I do for you and what do you want? What do you love? Put my window to the sky. Put my window to the sky. Put my window to the sky. There were times when I thought I could hold somebody's hand, that I deserved it and someone would understand. But I just seem to break the people that I find. Have you guys had a good time? I'd like you to put your hands together for John and everybody who volunteers and works here at Filberg's festival, on the sound, on the monitors, everybody running this festival. It is a work of art, and I'm so happy to have been a part of it. Know the people that I find. Know the people that I find. Put my window to the sky, and I'm thankful for you today. Put my window to the sky. When you laugh, I feel okay. Every diamond's in her eyes, they'll be so short to walk their way. Put my window to the sky.